Hello everyone, I'm Srijani. In this video, I'll be explaining about the exercise part of chapter 18, that is body fluids and circulation. The very interesting and beautiful chapter, body fluids and circulation. So I'll be discussing 5 to 6 questions in the exercise part of your NCERT text. So it includes name the components of the formed elements in the blood and mention one major function of each of them, and that is the importance of plasma proteins and the double circulation, its meaning, so and the significance of double circulation. Then sinoatrial node is called the pacemaker of our heart. Why? Then what is the significance of atrioventricular node and atrioventricular bundle and in the functioning of heart? At last, so the ECG, the different segments of ECG and its explanation. So coming to the first question, name the components of the formed elements in the blood and mention one major function of each of them. So erythrocytes, leukocytes and platelets combine to form formed elements in the blood. So erythrocytes are most abundant in blood and devoid of nucleus. They are biconcave shaped and they contain hemoglobin, so they play a very significant role in transport of respiratory gases. Then leukocytes are white blood cells. They are nucleated and short-lived. So leukocytes can be differentiated into granulocytes and agranulocytes. Again, granulocytes contains classification. They are neutrophils, eosinophils and basophils. Neutrophils are phagocytic cells which destroy foreign organisms, and basophils they secrete histamine, serotonin and heparin. They are involved in inflammatory reactions. Then eosinophils they resist infections. They are associated with allergic reactions. So this agranulocytes again differentiate into lymphocytes and monocytes. So lymphocytes are of two types, T lymphocyte and B lymphocyte, means where they origin. B represents bone marrow, T represents thymus. They are responsible for immune responses of the body. So monocytes are phagocytic cells. They takes part in destroying foreign bodies. And platelets are called thrombocytes, are also called, and they release variety of substances which are involved in coagulation or clotting of blood. And this is all about formed elements in the blood. And coming to the next question, the importance of plasma proteins. So plasma, we know that it's a straw colored viscous fluid consisting of nearly 55% of the blood, and this plasma contains the major proteins like fibrinogen, globulin and albumins. These are the major proteins. The fibrinogens are needed for clotting or coagulation of the blood, and globulins are primarily involved in defense mechanisms of the body. So albumins, they helps in osmotic balance in our body. Plasma, they also contain some amount of minerals like sodium, calcium, magnesium, bicarbonate and chloride ions. They also contain glucose, amino acids, lipids, etc. The plasma also contains the factors which are responsible for the coagulation of the blood. So coming to the next question. So before going to that, I just wanted to give a brief introduction on the functioning of heart. So we know that heart is a muscular pouch, muscular organ, which is responsible for the blood pumping mechanism in our body. So the heart contains 4 chambers, 2 auricles, right and left auricles, and 2 ventricles, right and left ventricle. So the deoxygenated blood enters to the right auricle through superior and inferior vena cava. So the entered blood then again enters into right ventricle. Through the right ventricle, it goes through the pulmonary artery. Then it will reach lungs, where the oxygenation process occurs. After the blood gets oxygenated, the oxygenated blood enters through pulmonary veins. So through the pulmonary veins, it enters to left auricle. So by applying pressure on the bicuspid wall, it enters to left ventricle. So through the left ventricle, it goes to aorta. So aorta supplies the oxygenated blood to entire body. every tissue in our body. This is the general mechanism how the heart functions. So coming to the double circulation. What is mean by double circulation and what is its significance? This is the schematic representation. I already explained that. So the blood comes here, deoxygenated blood, right auricle, then it passes through right ventricle, through sorry, yeah, the right ventricle, through it passes through the pulmonary artery and it reaches lungs where the oxygenation process occurs. Through pulmonary veins, it enters into left auricle, then from left ventricle through the dorsal aorta, it supplies through various parts of the body. This is our double circulation. And what is its significance? It's very necessary for human being to separate oxygenated and deoxygenated blood because the circulatory system becomes more efficient and helps in maintaining the constant body temperature. This is the very important significance of double circulation. And this is all about double circulatory system, and this is the main feature we could see in mammals, not in amphibians or fishes. Then coming to the next question, sinoatrial node is called the pacemaker of our heart. Why? So in this picture you could see here the sinoatrial node is a patch of tissue. It is a specialized myocardial structure. So a patch of tissue is present in the right upper corner of the right atrium, which initiate the electrical impulses to stimulate contraction. So this is a tissue, so which is responsible for electrical stimulation of the contraction. So that's why it's called a pacemaker of heart. So the sinoatrial node, it's a small tissue, it's a patch of tissue and which generates action potential. Means the heart chambers starts contracting due to this. They generate action potential that is 70 to 75 per minute, and it's responsible for rhythmic contractile activity of the heart. So it's called as a pacemaker of our heart. And coming to the next one, what is the significance of atrioventricular node and atrioventricular bundle in the functioning of heart? So it is another mass of tissue which can be seen in the lower left corner of right atrium close to the atrioventricular septum. So this is atrium ventricle. This is the atrioventricular septum. Close to this we could see another patch of tissue as same as sinoatrial node, like sinoatrial node, and it continues, then it reaches the interventricular septum. Okay, this is ventricles. So then as soon as it reaches here, it divides to left bundle and right bundle. A bundle of nodal fibers, that is atrioventricular bundle, continues from the atrioventricular node and which passes through atrioventricular septa to emerge and from the top into the interventricular septum. So as soon as it reaches here, it divides into the left and right bundle. This gives rise to minute fibers throughout the musculature on the respective sides. They are called as Purkinje fibers. These Purkinje fibers are responsible for the generation of action potential. This is about atrioventricular node and atrioventricular bundle. And yeah, coming to the last question, that is ECG. Draw a standard, they'll ask, draw a standard ECG and explain the different segments in it. So this is the pictorial representation. So this is echocardiogram. So the ECG is a graphical representation of the electrical activity of the heart during a cardiac cycle. So we could see P, Q, R, S, T. These are the markings. So what are these? So P wave, which represents electrical excitation or depolarization of the atria or auricle, which leads to contraction of both the auricles. So during the functioning of heart, both auricles and both ventricles means they functions at the same time. I mean, when one it's not possible to contract only one auricle and one ventricle. Both auricles and both ventricles perform at the same time. Okay, this is the depolarization of the atria. So the QRS complex is which represent the depolarization of the ventricle, contraction of ventricles. So the contraction starts shortly after Q. After Q, contraction start, and this is the beginning of the systole. Systole and diastole is contraction and relaxation. The T wave represents the return of ventricles from excited to normal state. This represents the repolarization of ventricles. So the end of T wave, which represent the end of systole, end of contraction. So by counting the number of QRS complexes, so we can determine the heartbeat of an individual. So this is all about ECG. And yeah, thank you.